Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new podcast, International in Groningen. This podcast is all about life as an international student in Groningen. My name is Sara.
And my name is Maria. And a very happy new year to you all. We're so excited to kick off 2025 with the lens of this podcast. Whether you're already a student or thinking about making Groningen your home, this podcast is for you.
That's right, and this podcast isn't just for internationals, it's for Dutchies too. We'll dive into the Groningen student experience, including how internationals and Dutchies connect and interact with each other.
On this podcast, we will interview students about their personal experiences with all kinds of different topics, like student jobs or finding a community and mental and physical health issues. Today, we have a really fun topic, international dating in Groningen.
Yeah, today we're talking all about dating apps, cultural differences, and the challenges and funny moments of dating as an international student in Groningen. Our guest today is Abby, and she's going to tell us all about her experience dating as an international student.
And if you want to hear some specific advice about dating in Groningen, make sure to stay till the end. Grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dive in. Abby, welcome to our show.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
First, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Where are you from? What are you doing here?
Yeah, so I'm from the US, from New York, New Jersey, and I'm studying my master's right now in international commercial law. I've been here for 4 years, and I've did the bachelor's in international and European law before that, and I just love Groningen as a city.
And great. Oh, sorry.
When did you move to the city?
It was August 2021. Yeah. So right after my high school graduation, I moved here.
Yeah. So when you first got here, what were your dating experiences like? Like, did you use dating apps to meet people, or did you meet people in person? Did you date Dutch people or internationals?
Yeah, like when I first moved here, I think people got on apps to kind of see like what's around. I personally never liked them that much. But yeah, I feel like I was more, as a first year student, everyone's at like Kaiwake parties, the ESN parties, and just meeting people like that. And then, yeah, just meeting people on the street more and through your studies as well.
Do you think like meeting people the traditional way, rather than using apps and everything, is easy here?
I think to some extent. I think maybe you have to be more of an extrovert and put yourself out there than, yeah, like I don't know. I find myself going up to people and talking, and yeah, for me, the apps always seemed a bit superficial to me and never really went anywhere further than just a few text messages.
Yeah. What do you think about the dating scene here compared to back home? Like, do you feel like there are a lot of differences?
So back home, I think I went to a pretty big high school, but it was a limited group of people, I guess, that I've known my whole life. So I guess options are a little bit limited there. And also, I wasn't necessarily in a city like Groningen always at my high school. So here, I think there's a much better chance to just go out into the city and meet someone, or just, yeah, through your courses saying, hey, do you want to grab a cup of coffee after this? And yeah, so I feel like compared to back home, it's maybe more open, I guess. And also, maybe it's the fact that everyone here has kind of a fresh start when you come for studies. At least the internationals do.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any funny first date stories to share?
Or horrible ones?
Yeah. I think it was actually, I went on a date with someone I met at like a Kaiwake party, a Dutch guy, and we went to dinner, and after the bill came and I said, oh no, it's okay. Like, you know, we can split the bill. And then, yeah, like I kind of saw it more going as friends. And so he paid for the dinner and everything. But then, you know, a few days later, I was kind of saying like, oh, I don't know if I want to continue this. And then he sent me a tikkie after that for the meal. Yeah. Gosh. So that was epitome of Dutch dating, I think. So
yeah. How do you feel about this tikkie dating, paying the bill thing like here?
Yeah, I think that is very different than at home, I guess. Yeah, I think at home also it's whoever asks for the date normally pays. So here I'm like, if someone's asking me out for a date and buying me dinner and drinks, I kind of would expect them to pay sometimes. But also I understand that we're students and, you know, people have limited budgets. So I actually don't mind splitting the bill. And even, yeah, in relationships, I think, you know, someone takes someone out next time and this time, and then you just split the paying. Everything evens out eventually.
Yeah. We actually went into the streets of Groningen to ask some students around town about their own dating app experiences, and even got some fun date ideas. So can we listen to what they have to say?
Yeah?
Yeah, sounds great.
Yes, I have.
Hinge.
I have used Tinder once.
Not really, just for fun, just more for the joke of it than really meet people through it.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really had much like long-term success with a dating app in that sense. But I think it can be fun. Yeah.
I did, but they're just so useless and so sad, so I stopped using them.
So most of the times it doesn't really result in anything for me. It's like mostly a lot of talking and getting to know people, and then all of a sudden it dies out kind of in a way.
I don't like the idea of dating someone from an app, so that's why I stopped that.
Since Groningen is a student city, it's relatively easy to date someone here.
I don't think I would date a Dutch guy. I don't know.
I mean, the Dutch are not my type as well, so yeah, I mean, there are a lot of internationals as well, but I think it's just difficult in being in such a small city.
Now that I've been here for like 3 years, I see a lot of the same people come back on the app, and I'm like, no.
I had one really good date. We went to a restaurant and then we went to a museum, the Groningen Museum, and it was really fun. And
things that I would have considered as a date were going to raves, so I'm not really sure if that was really a date, but like that was fun, yeah.
We jumped fences to pet sheep on a date for once.
What?
Yeah, we went on a walk in a park, and there was a small children farm, and we jumped the fence.
You were trespassing.
We were trespassing and ended up getting caught by the cops for it.
Oh, I went on a date with someone just from Instagram. I didn't know him, and it was just very, very bad. Like, he didn't even order drinks. We just sat at some place at a bookstore. It was very.
And she called me halfway through,
and I said, like, "Can you be sick so I can leave?"
And she left within like 2 minutes.
Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of people have some pretty awkward experiences. Some people have some really fun, crazy experiences.
I've done the last one too, really. It's not easy out there, you know?
No, it's not.
Yeah. Does that kind of sound like similar to your experience or like the experience of friends around you?
Yeah, I think so, especially the fact that it is a small city. Like, it seems like a proper city, but then once you start, living here for, I've been here for 4 years now, you know everyone when you're out.
Yeah.
So that does eventually limit your dating options as well, because, maybe you think someone is cute, but then, oh, my friend actually dated them in second year. And then you're like, okay, that's off limits. Yeah, so I think also it was kind of funny, the comment about a Dutch guy, because I think a lot of my friends also are like, Dutch guys aren't my type, because I think you have to find the right Dutch guy also. Like, if you want to, it's up to you. But
yeah. I
think sometimes they go into or at least Dutch men sometimes will go into it with the mentality of like, okay, what would an international student bring me? I know that sounds very Dutch and very direct, but like, what would they bring me that's different than a Dutch girl? Because they're like, okay, maybe I'd have to leave the Netherlands. Maybe I'd have to speak a different language, even though Dutch people are great English speakers. So yeah, I think you have to find someone who's also open-minded to have that international experience. Especially a lot of Dutch students here, they even come from their towns with their friends from when they were young. So even branching out with people from Amsterdam or Utrecht is kind of big for them. So even in like branching out into an international friend group is very scary to, I think, a bunch of them. So I think finding the right Dutch guy who's open to that mindset, I think that's a great experience also.
How was your experience? Did you find the right Dutch guy?
Yeah, I did. I am actually with my boyfriend, and we've been together for 2 years almost now. So yeah, he's Dutch. He's from Stadskanaal in Groningen. So yeah, I mean, he was open to it, I guess. And just the fact that, why wouldn't I date an international when I think some of his friends maybe are the other way around, and they're like, why would I date an international? So yeah, I think he's open to it. He doesn't send me a ticky after every date. But yeah, we've been very happy for 2 years now. And I think it's also, for me, it's been a big part of assimilating to the culture here as well. And, getting to do things I normally wouldn't have done and see parts of the Netherlands that maybe other international students wouldn't as well. So I think, yeah, that comment about I wouldn't date Dutch men, I think that also contributes to maybe the divide between Dutchies and international students, but like not wanting to branch out and maybe go into an uncomfortable situation. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on the person, like both on the international and Dutch side, whether they're kind of willing to like go beyond that, their little bubble and kind of mingle.
Exactly.
Yeah. So can you tell us like the story of how you and your boyfriend met?
Yeah. So actually we met in Het Feest, the club in the city, actually. I was having like a girls' night, kind of, I was enjoying being single, and, we were just hitting the town, I guess. And I was, as girls do when they go to the bathroom together, all holding our hands, walking through the club together. And I felt someone touch my shoulder, and I was kind of like, I have to go to the bathroom. Like, what's going on? And he said something in Dutch, but it was loud. I was like, I don't really know what you're saying. And he said, oh, like, I think you're really beautiful. Like, if you come back from the bathroom, I'll buy you a drink. And I was like, wow, a Dutch man offering me a drink. Like, I'll take it. So yeah, and then we ended up talking that whole night. I kind of still didn't want a relationship at that point, but then he was very persistent, and we started seeing each other more often. And then eventually we started dating, and yeah, it's been, that's history then. Yeah.
That's so nice. Have you, or do you want to go ahead, Maria? Okay. With dating a Dutch guy, have you experienced any like big culture shocks or cultural differences in your relationship?
Yeah, there's quite a few, I think. Maybe the directness also. That's just in everyday life also. Just I don't know, sometimes you don't want someone to be completely honest with you about like, hey, how does the shirt look? And he'd be like, it's actually not that great. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Maybe, on birthdays and stuff also, how people congratulate you for like your boyfriend or your girlfriend's or birthday. Like, yeah, I'd have his friends texting me saying, congratulations with Yes's birthday. So that's a pretty good culture shock. Yeah, I mean, maybe just the even like the dating culture here, and just, I think sometimes it's more laid back and maybe not like, going to a fancy dinner, which I also don't mind, but the doing small meaningful things together. And like, even, I mean, nowadays we just love like running errands together, which I know kind of sounds like we're an old couple now, but just the more laid back and not as stressful like expectations with dating.
Yeah.
Like, you've been one of the lucky ones, to
Yeah,
be fair.
Yeah, I've had my share of bad ones also. So
sure.
Yeah.
If you had to give like any advice to new international students here, what would that be?
I think, especially when you first move here, just, maybe don't go into a relationship right away. Just make it friends, and, from those friendships, even see if you can, find something more from that. I think what lacks in dating apps sometimes is that personal connection beforehand. Like, even my boyfriend, we didn't have a personal connection beforehand, but before we started dating, even I got to know him a bit. So maybe just have your options open, and maybe, not say completely no to Dutch guys or just I'm only dating internationals, but just, you might be missing out on a big experience then.
And be open and
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And go try the apps if you want, but also don't be afraid to go up to someone and say, hey, like, can I buy you a drink? Or, hey, want to grab a cup of coffee?
Yeah. Like, this whole mentality thing, like, brings us to, do you remember Radboud Visser, the matchmaker? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he couldn't join us to the studio today. It was funny because as we were looking like for people to come to the show, we came across matchmaking organizations and stuff like that. So it was kind of weird, and we started like interviewing and stuff like that. And he gave a very, very nice insights that you mentioned before about dating apps and how they're working with the algorithms of swiping. The app really wants you to stay there, to not find your match, and makes you like keep swiping and everything. He had very good like insights about it. I'm so sad he's not here today. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with apps it's really interesting because on the one hand, a lot of people seem to have a pretty negative experience with them, like feeling like they're not really getting anything out of it, or definitely not anything long term. But then I do know like a good handful of people who have met their long-term partner on dating apps. So I think it really comes down to probably luck. And then also, I mean, whether you meet someone on a dating app or in real life on that like first date, you have the opportunity to just get to know them. So I do think while there are definitely cons, something good can come out of them for some people, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Even I think my parents, some of their friends, like they met on apps, and then their whole theme of their wedding was like, I swiped right and stuff like that. So it's definitely possible. I think it's just, you have to, again, like you said, find the right person with the right mentality also.
It's the chemistry.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also wanted to ask you, so you talked about how you were kind of being more, what's the word? assimilating to the Dutch culture through dating a Dutch guy. And I wanted to ask you, have you like started learning Dutch or done any things that have kind of made you more part of the Dutch culture?
Yeah, I've have my 650 something Duolingo day streak. So yeah, I've been trying to learn Dutch also. But I think also one drawback in the Netherlands is all Dutch people speak English. So it's hard when you're trying to practice your Dutch. And also I think, Dutch people want the conversation to be efficient. So they see you struggling, looking for the word. They're like, oh, we'll just do English. But yeah, I think also now my boyfriend and I actually in the mornings, we try to do during breakfast, we only speak Dutch. So yeah, and I think just putting that extra effort in, but it is a pretty hard language. So yeah, I'm definitely trying with it and it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Do you think you need to embrace these cultural differences so as to have a better relationship? Do you think it really counts?
I think it really does, because I think I maybe take for granted sometimes that, he's speaking his second language our entire relationship. So I think I want to be able to pay that forward also. And even just, I think if we didn't recognize the differences that we have from our cultures, then we're pushing them away. And then I feel like that could lead to, a weakened relationship. And just maybe being honest and saying wow, when you did something that way, or I'm trying to think. Or even just when he had hagelslag for breakfast or something, and I'm like, what is that? Just embracing that, I eat more than one hot meal a day than, Dutchies eat one hot meal a day or something. Yeah, I think just you have to embrace the differences in order to grow in a relationship.
Yeah. What has it been like for you interacting with his family, and then maybe if he has a more Dutch circle of friends and fitting into that?
Yeah, so I think his family is great. They really are welcoming. I think at first they're kind of where did he, find this one? Especially where he's from, Stadskanaal is a pretty small town. And yeah, I mean, it is quite the feeling when I go there. If I speak English, everyone kind of turns their head around, who's speaking English? Who is that? But his family's great, and his dad is a lovely guy, but he doesn't speak much English, his dad. So I'm really trying to work on my Dutch also for him, but he also tries really hard. And with his friend group, I think at first also, I even said to me again with that Dutch directness, being you're actually really nice for an international. You're, yeah. Or I was saying before we started the podcast that I had one of his friends do a project with me, or do a project for me. I had to interview an international, and he's like, you're the only international I actually know. So I think they're very nice and they're very welcoming, but I think they are also closed off at first, and they're kind of I have my friends, why would I go out there and make new friends? And I think, yeah, even internationals are the same, I was saying before, that they're kind of I can find camaraderie in internationals who also moved away from home. What do I have to connect with Dutch people? So I think, yeah, his friends are also great, and they've, accepted me as I am now, but I'm also working on my Dutch to, try and...
Cultural compatibility. And,
yeah, exactly. Because I think you guys have also probably experienced being in a setting with Dutch people. You never want to make them switch to English because you feel bad. So, they say it's fine, but you still want to just do your part and try to understand and try to speak. Yeah.
Okay, so I think...
Do we want to talk about some more advice that we have for students?
Yeah, I think from my end is mostly you use the apps. Actually use the apps, but as an option, not as a tool or I'm gonna find I don't know, the love of my life through the app or anything. It's an option. It's there. Use it, but go out there also. The thing you said about be open. Yeah.
Yeah, and try new things. I'm always saying, YOLO, you only live once. So just, I mean, it is kind of a small city, but if you go up to and ask someone if you buy them a drink and they say no, that's the worst thing that can happen. Maybe you'd see them again, but chances are you probably won't. So it doesn't hurt to just take a risk.
And I think, we're in a city with many opportunities. There's the nightlife is so vivid, and you can go out, meet someone. There is also associations, organizations, and everything. I think if you're out there, you'll find your match or something. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And then when it comes to date ideas, I feel like Groningen is such a fun place to go on dates because it's just so beautiful. Just going for a walk in the Noordplantsoen, going for a coffee at one of the great cafes, a bike ride, grabbing a drink somewhere. There's so much you can do, and it's a really fun way to also explore the city.
Yeah. Don't stress out. Don't stress out. Enjoy the experience.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's always, especially on a student budget, there's so many things you can do. Even there's always exhibits in the forum and stuff, and just taking a walk around, or the winter market right now. That's a great, free activity that, students don't have to put that much pressure on themselves and go to a 5-star restaurant. So,
yeah, for sure.
Okay, perfect. Abby, I want to thank you from the both of us for coming here today and sharing your personal experiences with us.
yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. It was genuinely very fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. And to our listeners, stay tuned for our next episode on another topic about international student life in Groningen.
Thank you for tuning in to Internationals in Groningen. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.